Hey guys, it's Ashley Janae, love and relationship coach, and I'm here today to talk about a phenomenon that I find kind of interesting, and it's actually something that I've experienced myself, and a lot of women I know are also kind of dealing with the effects of this, and it's pretty much comes down to our mentality as women and what we think that we deserve or should qualify for based on our own personal attributes, and then how that translates into the dating world. So I myself am a woman who, I didn't start off like with a silver spoon in my mouth, or I was raised middle class and all of that, but I did, despite being a single mom and a teen mom, I did go to school, pursue higher education. I have some accomplishments that I'm proud of. I bought my first home at, I think I was either 22 or 23, and went to school, got my bachelor's, got my master's, got a, really good paying job. Now, over the years, I just advanced my career and, doing really well, for myself. And I know a lot of women who are in a similar boat where they're pretty educated. They've been able to accomplish a lot on their own. Womankind has come really far over the years. And whereas a lot of us weren't in college, or, we're stay-at-home moms that didn't really have careers and things like that, and subsequently didn't have a lot of assets or accomplishments outside of being a wife and mother, or things like that. Nowadays that's not the case. So I think our mentality when we have achieved so much outside of the home or out in the world is, well, I want a man who's on that same level. We in our minds think, okay, well, my socioeconomic status is higher, so I should qualify for a man who's also of a higher status. Ideally, a man who's higher status than us, but at minimum, a man who's at our same status. I don't know any women who want a man who doesn't make as much as they do. Unless, and I say this as a caveat, there are some women who subconsciously, they do like to be the breadwinner. They do like to be the one who makes more, or who is more successful, or who is like the star of the relationship. And that is because it gives them a greater sense of control. When they control the money, when they are like the leader, there's a little less fear for them, as opposed to being under a man's thumb, or having to ask a man for money, or having to depend on a man for money. There are a lot of women who have a really strong aversion to that. They do not want to have to ask or depend on a man for anything. So they've been really self-sufficient on their own, and they get with men who aren't on their same level, so that balance that keeps them more so the one who has the upper hand. They want to maintain that balance. So that's why they would choose a man who more so has to come to them for things, who doesn't know as much as they know, who, isn't doing as well as they are. But for most women, we still have that instinct within us to be taken care of. We're naturally hypergamous. So we desire to be with a man who can protect and provide. And providing also includes, obviously financial provisions. So, but here's where we encounter issues. So I see a lot of women who either are single or they're already with men who do not out-earn them, or do not have as advanced of an education as they do. And they continually pursue more. I mean, even in my case, I just signed up for another program at school because I'm like, a lifelong learner and I'm always pursuing education. But something that you have to consider when you do that as a woman is that in your mind, you're elevating yourself. And if you continue to elevate yourself, you'll think that you deserve more because of the letters behind your name, because you earn more money, because of, the lifestyle that you live. It continues to rise. So you will look to your romantic partner or to your prospective partners to match you. And if that's the case, you have to consider that as you go up status in men, as far as how much they earn, the kind of jobs they have, how educated they are, those men are highly sought after. And because they're highly sought after, they have a lot of options. And you have to think, I very rarely hear a man who's highly sought after say, I really want a woman who is independent, self-sufficient, and just as educated as me and doing just as well as me financially. Those qualities are typically not things that you hear. And the reason is because a man is not naturally hypergamous. A man is not necessarily looking for a woman who's on his same or higher level as far as socioeconomic status goes, or even education. Because a man's not really looking for his mental equal in terms of she can do what I can do. A man is typically looking for his counterpart. So someone who brings something to the table that he doesn't already possess. And if you as a woman are valuing those qualities that are typically masculine, like, oh, I'm super educated, I'm super successful, I earn a lot of money, those are things that are valued out in the world in general, but it's more from a masculine perspective. So if you really are proud and hold yourself in high esteem because you have those qualities, you have to consider, are you someone that the men you're looking for want? Are you their ideal choice? Are you someone that they are intentionally looking for? Do you possess those qualities that they want in a woman? And a lot of women don't even bother to educate themselves with what we'll just call them like high value or high earning men. They don't bother to concern themselves with learning what those men are looking for. They just think, I'm better than the girl that's, living in the apartment and working at Marshall's and, has 5 kids with 5 different men and, so on and so forth. And in her mind, her resume qualities is what qualifies her for a higher quality man. But men don't typically see it that way, especially not men who are not hurting for anything as far as finances go. They don't need your house. They don't need your car. They don't need your money. So if they don't need those things from you, then they're not going to value those. What do they value? They value how easy are you to get along with? Are you going to be someone who they can produce a legacy and have children with? Or if they have children, are you going to be good with those children? Are you nurturing? Are you loving? Are you agreeable? Are you inspirational? Do you inspire him to be a better man? Are you soft? Are you a safe place? Are you feminine? Are you beautiful? Are you pleasant to be around? Those are the kinds of things that those men care about. And if they can find those qualities, even if it's in a woman who has a very basic job, is not high earning at all, but she possesses what they're looking for, they will go for that woman. You don't see a lot of, celebrities tend to date celebrities because that's the circles that they run in. But if you step outside of, celebrities and maybe look at men who are just high earning or athletes, outside of the circles that they mingle in, they're not necessarily looking for women who do what they do. They're not necessarily looking for high-powered women. They're looking for women who bring something to their lives that they don't already have or do. So a lot of us are taught to emphasize those qualities that are more man-like or masculine in nature, with being a good provider. You're a good provider for yourself. You have done everything that back in the day women used to have to depend on men to do for them. And that's great. That makes you feel good and makes you feel accomplished inside. But the flip side is, if you do want a partner, if you do want a man, you're not going to be able to attract him with those things. And if you do attract a man with those qualities, it's typically going to be a man that needs you for those things. So, a lot of us that are doing well for ourselves, we also don't want to be a man's sponsor. We don't want to be used or taken advantage of. You've heard the whole, joke about, your boyfriend is dropping you off at work and driving your car while you're at work. Like, a lot of us don't want that. We want someone who, is working just as hard, if not harder, than we are. We're looking for, someone who is matching, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, our hustle. Who, can give us that feeling of being a power couple, like we're both doing well together. And those type of men aren't typically looking for women like that. Now, if you possess the feminine qualities that they're looking for, they can appreciate the fact that you also happen to be very smart business-wise, and that you have a lot of accomplishments, and that you're super educated and all of that. That's icing on the cake, but there has to be cake first, and the cake is those feminine qualities that I mentioned earlier. Men just are not looking for women who are like men, or women who do what they do. They have no purpose for that. There's no reason. And also, men like to be the leader. For a man to not be the leader of his own home or of his relationship is emasculating. And men gravitate toward environments where they feel like a man, where they feel powerful, where they feel respected, where they feel honored. And when you are a super educated and successful woman, it's very easy for you to make a man feel emasculated, because you are operating from a masculine-esque type of energy yourself. And a lot of times, without you even knowing it, you challenge his leadership. You challenge his leadership because you feel like you know just as good as he knows, if not better. You challenge his leadership because you're also educated, because you've also purchased homes and have a high-paying job and are respected at that job. So you feel like, well, I'm not, the mousy little wife that stays in the kitchen. I have a voice. I have something to say. I want to be out here and be heard. And when you're dealing with a man who is like, upper echelon, they're not trying to be dealing with that. They have to go out into the world and fight head to head with other men, and earn respect and earn their stripes. They're not trying to do that at home. They really believe in a hierarchy in the home. And it's a challenge. It's not impossible, but it's a challenge for women who are super self-sufficient, who don't technically need a man in terms of like finances and stuff like that, to fall back and assume the feminine role and allow the man to lead. Now imagine how hard that would be if you earn more than he does, to still let him lead, to let him make the financial decisions, to let him determine the direction of your family, to ask him about purchases that you want to make with money that you've earned. You see how, even just hearing that might stir up some emotions within you. And that's why it's so difficult for women who are high earning to either attract other high earning men and keep those relationships, or to date men who aren't as high earning as they are and respect them. And it's because we're so empowered that we are kind of disconnected from our role when it comes to relationship. You can be high powered and smart and strong and do a lot in the world, but you still have to understand that there is a hierarchy in the home. There is a hierarchy in relationship, and it's not meant to oppress you, It is naturally how we function. It is a natural flow. It's an energetic thing. There's always masculine and feminine, yin and yang, light and dark. That always exists. So dark is not going to get with dark. Light is not going to get with light. Case in point, a lot of women do not respect men who are more feminine-esque. And that is because we can't respect a man that we can run, that we can tell what to do, or who can't make decisions and leaves everything to us. Why? Because we feel like the man. We feel like everything's on our shoulders. It's overwhelming. And we don't feel safe. We don't feel protected when men are like that. We prefer a man who is strong in his dominance, but who doesn't use that to abuse or oppress us. So we're looking for a man that we can trust in his power and in his dominance. But, I mean, keep in mind that as women, we're super empowered these days. We're super vocal, and a lot of us look at that feminine role as one that is lesser, less important, less powerful, too vulnerable and scary. And if you're not with a man that you can trust to lead you, who you trust to be a good leader, who you trust to not use his power against you or to harm you or your family, or you don't trust that he will not make decisions that will make you all worse off or put you at risk. If you can't trust that, then you're activated to be in your leadership energy. And that only works for so long. There can't be two leaders, there can't be two captains, there can't be two kings in the household. It just doesn't work. And men, without even consciously knowing it, some of them do, but without even consciously knowing it, they are drawn to environments that make them feel good about who they are, that respect them as the king, respect them as the leader, and allow him to kind of flourish in his masculine energy. It's like an ego boost. You know, we all know about the male ego and all of that. It's like an ego boost. So if you don't have that kind of environment with a man, he may be with you, but he'll either be more in feminine-esque type of qualities, or he'll be diminished. He won't be in his power. He won't be in his fullness. He won't be the man that he could be, because you're in conflict with him. You're kind of fighting him for the top spot, if you will, and that can't exist. Meanwhile, there is a feminine role in your household that you're not playing to the fullest, because you're trying to balance being both. You're trying to balance being, this powerful boss babe who, tends to operate more in this masculine-esque go-getter leader type of energy, while there's a man in your life. It kind of makes sense when you're by yourself, because you have to be self-sufficient, do things for yourself. But when you're in a relationship, you have to know how to dial that back. And there is actually a way that you can be in your feminine and still be a go-getter, still be a boss, still, be successful in the business world and accomplish a lot, but still possess those feminine qualities that don't seem like, you're coming for a man's neck, or like you're competing with him, or like you're going to challenge him. It comes off as disrespect, because in the hierarchy of society, or in the hierarchy of the world, or just masculine and feminine relationships, period, there cannot be two leaders. Someone has to yield. And for a man to yield to a woman feels unnatural. It feels unnatural to the woman. It feels unnatural to the man. And the flip side is, a lot of us really want a man who's going to be devoted, who will sacrifice for us, who wants to make us happy, who will bend over backwards to please us and make sure that we're good and secure and do whatever he has to do. A man is activated to do that with a woman that he's devoted to. And what inspires devotion is him feeling like the king of the world in your presence. And how do you create that energy? By being in your feminine energy, not by challenging him and going head to head with him on issues or threatening his position as the head of household. You do that by resting into your feminine, fulfilling that role. And I don't know how else to describe it without sounding bad, but kind of almost leading from behind. Like they describe men and women as the man is the head and the woman is the neck. So as the neck, you do have influence, you do have power, but it's not the same as the power that the head has. And there is a lot of women who in history have heavily influenced a man's decisions, have inspired wars, have actually used that power for negative and incited chaos because they got in the king's ear, because they said what they wanted, what would make them happy, and he was so devoted to her that he was willing to do whatever, even to his own demise, just to make her happy. And that is the power of femininity. It is subtle. It is an art. It is the art of influence and persuasion and seduction. And, you know, it's not as direct. It's not as in your face. It's not as I'm slamming the gavel, I'm the boss, you're going to do what I say. It's not like that. And because we've kind of been brought up under a masculinized idea of success, you know, we're taught that as women, you're supposed to be everything. You're supposed to be successful outside of the home and doing well for yourself, and, you know, also raising kids and keeping a household and keeping your body together and beautiful, but also smart, and also, you know, making your own money so you're not a gold digger. And there's too many competing standards out there that it's hard for us to know what's most important. And if a lot of us are out here and we're not partnered, we kind of have to be in our masculine. If we don't live with our parents and we're not being protected and provided for, if we're out here in the world on our own, that's an energy that we have to inhabit in order to get things done, handle business, and be safe, to do the things that typically a man would do if you were partnered. But I believe that a lot of us who are not partnered want to be. And if you want to be, then you have to learn what will make that happen. You have to learn what the missing link is. And the missing link is not you being more educated. If you think you're not attracting a high quality of man right now, the answer is not, oh, well, I need to make more money. Or, you know, if I can't figure out this dating thing, let me just focus on going back to school. Let me just focus on expanding my business. Those are things that we can control and that we feel good at, and that's great, but it's not going to help you in love. It's actually going to make it harder. Because if you go from a six-figure earner to a millionaire, you just upped your socioeconomic class. So in essence, you've narrowed the choices you have of men that you can economically respect getting with and allowing to lead you. So now in your mind, you're in the league for, you know, millionaires. And you may say, oh, I'm willing to date a guy who's a six-figure earner. And that may be the case. But how are you going to feel when you guys get together and you commingle your finances? How are you guys going to get together and purchase a home and decide who's paying what bills, who's paying the mortgage, who's doing whatever, without you feeling like you're providing for him, or like you're doing more, or like it's unequal, it's unfair? You know, that's not how we envision things going in our mind. So you have to consider that. You know, the more you pursue your individual success and accolades, the harder you make it for yourself in dating, because there's just a smaller pool of men to choose from. And those men that you have in your mind that you deserve, they want specific things from women. And a lot of the energy that women who are strong and self-sufficient and successful tend to operate in is not attractive to those high-earning, successful men, because they don't want to argue with you. They don't want to go back and forth with you. They don't want to deal with the challenge at home. They're looking for peace at home. So those are things to keep in mind. And, I even have to tell myself, like, okay, you're pursuing this individual success, but how is this going to impact the dynamics of your relationship? Especially if you're with a man who doesn't have the same aspirations, or if you're, going to surpass your man in earnings, you have to keep in check that energy that will still keep you in your feminine, in the role of the woman, and allow you to continue to respect him as the head of household, no matter how much money you're earning, no matter how smart you are, whether you have a PhD behind your name and you're a millionaire. Like, that doesn't mean that you need a millionaire man. And if that's what you want, that is possible, but you are going to have to step out of that masculine-esque energy and really, really, really cultivate your strengths as a feminine woman and those qualities, because you've put a lot of stock and attention in pursuing more masculine type of accomplishments. So you feel powerful in the world, but you're not powerful in your feminine energy. And that's why you're not attracting high quality men. That's why you're more so attractive to the users, the guys who want to take advantage and capitalize on your success and how much you have your life together. And they want to live in the lap of luxury that you've created. It's because they are more in a feminine-esque type of energy where they're looking to be taken care of. And that's what you end up becoming a match for. So it's just something to watch out for, something to keep in mind as you continue to pursue success. It might be a good idea to kind of pause on that and think, okay, I'm doing really well. And while I enjoy having a luxurious lifestyle, while I enjoy being successful and a boss babe and all of that, I may want to pay a bit more attention to relationship qualities and how to attract a man who is in his masculine. And I can attract him by being a bit more in my feminine. And what does that look like? What kinds of qualities does a feminine woman possess that would attract a man who is looking for his counterpart and not someone who is just like him? So don't be fooled into thinking that that's what they value, that that's what they respect, that that's what they find attractive, because it's not. And if you look at the men you've dated in the past, that will prove that. You've probably dated men who weren't as ambitious as you, weren't doing as well as you, and you ended up kind of playing almost a motherly role to them. You ended up taking care of everything, because that's who finds that attractive, is men who are not completely activated in their masculine energy. And that's not what you want. So you have to keep in mind that both are important. That it's important for you to feel accomplished as a woman, for you to feel empowered around how you live and the kind of life and lifestyle you create for yourself. But don't go overboard with it, especially if you're not concerned with, qualities that make you attractive to a dating partner, and you want someone high quality, and you haven't even bothered to learn what those are. You're investing in your personal accomplishments as if that's going to get you a higher quality man, and it's not. You will be shocked to find out that it's not. And not only that, it makes dating a little harder, because you just make your options fewer and fewer of the type of man that you want, that you can respect, who you can go the distance and build a life with. So that is what I have to say about that. Those are my thoughts. So if you have any questions, comments, if you have any insight you would like to share, or you want to push back on anything, or you need further clarification, feel free to leave a comment, send me a DM. This is something I work with women on, and it's a continual journey. It's not an easy fix because, it goes against what we're taught to aspire to and to pursue and desire. But, it's something that we need to talk about because it's going to become an epidemic here. It's going to become a lot of women who are smart and successful, but who don't have partners and are basically being their own man. And I know that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to become so successful that I couldn't get with any man except one who needed me to take care of him. That's not the goal. We don't intend to become these successful women to end up being the husband in the relationship. So pause, reflect on how this may resonate or be true in your life. And if you want guidance or insight on how you can kind of shift out of that energy that you've been operating in and feeling good in, to a certain degree, because it can get tiring and taxing on a woman to try to be out there and compete and hustle and amass all of these accomplishments that make you respected out in the world. But yet there's a part of us that desires to be taken care of and nurtured and, like I said, provided for, protected, seen as precious, all of that. Those are two opposite ends of the spectrum. So, but if you want insight on how to step into that energy, how to, kind of suspend your aspiring and step into being, and how to elicit a different reaction from men and how to attract a different type of man, then send me a DM. I am going to have a free webinar pretty soon where I am teaching on this in depth, and to follow that will be a group program that I'm very excited to launch. And that, is my mission. I know way too many smart, self-sufficient, amazing women who just don't know how to attract the kind of partner that they want, don't really know where they stand in the dating world, and they have a different viewpoint of themselves than the dating pool does of them, and they're not getting the results that they think they should, and they don't understand why. So it's my mission to make it clear, to help them shift into the energy they need to be in to get the outcome they desire, and to see women feel like they can have it all, that they can have success, that they can still be educated and successful, but also have love, also be taken care of, also be provided for, and be happy, live a balanced life. So yeah, that's it for now. So if you have any questions, DM me. If you're interested in seeing the webinar, it will be in my free group on Facebook, but I will only broadcast it in that group. So if you'd like to be part of it and watch, then send me a message and I can get you the link to the group. And if you're interested in working with me, there is a link in my bio or in the description of this video where you can book a free call with me and we can discuss what you need and what I can offer. All right, so y'all have a great day and stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.